The college basketball experience summer coaches tour for the Ohio Bobcats head coach Jeff Boals edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up today using that promo code TCESGPN to claim your first time deposit. Offer up to $250 bonus in cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM today. And welcome everybody into the college basketball experience summer coaches tour. We continue on our tour with the MACtion, baby. The Ohio Bobcats head coach Jeff Boals joins our show. We sit down with him, talk about his playing career at Ohio U, his days at Stony Brook a couple years ago as head coach, 3 years of success, as well as the multiple stops along the journey, assistant coach at Akron, Ohio State, and what led him back to where his alma mater is, Ohio U. He will join the show here in a little bit. But first, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin.
It's Mac tonight. Come on, make it Mac tonight.
Also known as Mac Tonight over here at the College Basketball Experience. Loving these coaches tour interviews, getting around the country. We've dove in with multiple guys from the A-Sun to the SoCon. Now we're working our way into the MAC, and we got plenty on deck for you. Make sure you subscribe to all channels, especially the College Basketball Experience. Before we get to Coach Boals, we got to pay the bills real quick because we are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up today using our promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit. Offer up to $250 bonus in cash. College football is right around the corner, so you're going to want to make sure you're locked in and ready to go. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. Back on the college basketball experience, and let's get right to it. The head coach of the Ohio Bobcats, Coach Jeff Boals. And we continue our summer coaches tour on the college basketball experience with the head coach of the Ohio Bobcats, Coach Jeff Boals. Coach, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Ryan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. So, Coach, fill us in. What life has been like in Athens, Ohio, the last couple months since the season ended. I know we're under 3 months till we tip off the ball again.
It's hard to believe it's August 12th, and we had a great summer. Majority of our kids have been here all summer. They're lifting 4 days a week, working out 4 days a week, doing their own stuff, taking classes, and the summer's been really good for us.
Yeah, the summers definitely are longer now, especially with just having your kids on campus. But Coach, let's talk about back in the day when you played at Ohio U, your playing days. You wore the uniform from 91 to 95. Just talk about your playing career in Athens and just when you knew you wanted to get into the coaching industry.
Yeah, I had a phenomenal career in a sense. I love the guys I played with. Obviously, playing for Ohio University. To this day, I have a text chain, with 10 of my buddies. Our championship team. We go all day, every day, cracking on each other, and just going through it, winning the preseason NIT in Madison Square Garden, beating Ohio State, beating Virginia. Going to the NCAA Tournament. Just had a lot of great memories and experiences. And I really didn't know I wanted to coach until a couple years after. So I was a biology major. I wanted to be a physical therapist, and I always tell people if I knew I was going to coach, I would not have been a biology major. Taking neuroanatomy, cell chemistry, organic chemistry. But at the end of my senior year, I tore my ACL for the third time, ended my career 20 games in. And I started applying to PT schools. And at the end of the season, we lost an assistant coach. And my head coach, Larry Hunter, said, "Hey, would you be interested in coaching?" I'm like, "Sure." Didn't know what it meant, what it entailed. I was 22 years old. Didn't know what I was going to do with my life. So my first job was here at OU. And my second job was at University of Charleston down in West Virginia. And I was there for 3 years. And that's really when I thought, I could make this a profession. And, once you get into it, I went to Marshall University for 4 years after that. And, I really thought, like, I want to be a head coach someday. And, obviously a goal of mine was to be the head coach of my alma mater. And, kind of came into fruition, 5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And Coach, when you look at your track record, you kind of stayed somewhat outside of Stony Brook regionally with West Virginia. Obviously, I'm a West Virginia guy with my background.
Yep.
But West Virginia, the Pittsburgh area, Ohio, just talk about the relationships you've built over the years in that great area, because there's so many great high school coaches in the state of Ohio and West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, I love my time in West Virginia. Met my wife there in Charleston. Actually, ironically, today's our anniversary, 24 years. And she was always like, "Can we get like south of the Mason-Dixon line one time?" We're just, like you said, in that big circle. But, it's tough being a coach's wife, coach's family. You're moving so many times. And, the one time we moved out, we went to Long Island, New York, where I got my first head coaching job at Stony Brook University. And, been very, very fortunate, Ryan, to work with some really, really good people. Starting with Larry Hunter, my head coach here, went down with Jason G in Charleston, to Greg White, to Mark Schmidt up at Robert Morris, to Keith Dambrot at Akron, to Thad Matta. And so I've been very, very blessed to, be around great people, and you learn a lot, from those people, and, help you prepare to be a head coach, which I got my first opportunity, like I said, at Stony Brook.
Let me ask a follow-up question on that. So you mentioned it, the different stops, different head coaches, from Thad Matta to Keith Dambrot to Coach White. What in 2016 you get the Stony Brook job, you have success there. Obviously, it gets you to Ohio. What did you take from each and every one of those guys that helped you prepare you for your first head coaching job at Stony Brook?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different. Greg White was one of the best marketers, best, people, how to present yourself, how to carry yourself. Mark Schmidt was a grinder, worker. When I was at Robert Morris, we didn't have a secretary. And, he kind of showed you, like, how to do things without the resources that you might need or have. Keith Dambrot was a relationship guy. He was always constantly like, hey, every single day, text, call, the players, you got to touch points every single day. Thad Matta was an awesome communicator, people person, just, the way you communicated, how you treated people, how you ran a practice. So you take different things from everybody. And, when you become a head coach, I think I asked maybe like 20 of my friends, like, first time head coach, what's your advice? And to a T, every single one of them said, hey, be yourself. Don't be Thad Matta, don't be Keith Dambrot. You got to be you. And, I'll never forget the first time out I ever called. It was a 30-second time out. And before I said one word, the 15-second horn was hitting. I'm like, I didn't even say anything yet. But, as you go through it as a head coach, you learn, on the fly, and learn what you do differently, how you do things. So it's been great.
And clearly you had success right away at Stony Brook, the 3 years you spent there. 2019, your alma mater calls. Talk about how special it was coming back home in front of a bunch of family and friends. You played there. You mentioned it was your dream job. How special was it to get the call to come back to Ohio U back in 2019?
Yeah, it was kind of surreal. When I was at Ohio State, we were 34-3 one year, number one in the country, and I got bypassed for this job. And then, a couple years later, we were 31-8, went to the Final Four, got bypassed for the job. And, when I was at Stony Brook, my third year, we were 24-8. We beat South Carolina, George Washington, Rhode Island, Northern Iowa, and had a few phone calls from Power Fives and wasn't interested at the time. We had, I think, 10 or 11 freshmen and sophomores coming back. My daughter was 16 and lived in like 7, 8 cities. My son went through some mental health issues, so we weren't really looking to leave. We loved living on Long Island. Loved Sean Hilburn, who worked for Stam Stanley, the president, and then OU called, and I didn't want to bypass it a third time. So we met as a family, and we all agreed to move back to Ohio. And, just coming back from our press conference, walking into the arena, seeing the banners, when I played, and, had a couple people, my academic advisors showed up, my former trainer showed up. So it was really cool to kind of, have it come full circle.
Absolutely. I can just hear it in your voice is how special that place means to you. Coach, so you take the Ohio job in 2019. That probably seems like about 20 years ago with all the changes that have come in our game. Just talk about trying to adapt to the times, the NIL, the portal. I don't think anybody really has an answer, but it's more just adapting so that you don't perish. Just talk about the changes and how you guys have changed as a staff over the last 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely changed, and it's really a completely different profession. Like anything in life, you got to change with it. You got to adapt and adjust, and the people who do, thrive, and the people who don't kind of, end up, not doing what they're supposed to. But I think if you look at our industry, you've had a lot of high-level Hall of Fame coaches retire through the last 2-3 years, and I think this is a big part of it. Just completely different than what they got into it for. And, my first year here, to COVID to now, like you said, it's really become transactional, with the way the money's going around, the transfer portal, the way it is. And, a couple of years ago, we went to the NCAA tournament, beat Virginia, lost to Creighton. The next year we won 25 games, and I had 2 first-team All-League guys coming back. And that's really the first year that it hit us. Ben Vanderplas left and went to Virginia, and then Mark Sears ended up going to Alabama. And, we still won 20 games the following year, but, not near what we thought it was going to be. And then this past year, Ryan, we were fortunate enough to keep, a couple of our best players from transferring out. So, I think it's, how you treat people, what you do, how you do it. We're not going to be able to compete monetarily with a lot of programs, especially the high majors. So we try to, thrive on our culture, the way we treat them, how we play let them play with freedom, and, it seemed to kind of work out this year for us.
Yeah, everybody likes to talk about Mark Sears and his Alabama career, and I'm like, hey, I remember when he was in the MAC at Ohio. He was pretty damn good there too, and you guys have had really good teams. And one thing I've always noticed about your teams is you guys get better throughout the year, and you guys schedule in the non-con. I think that has a lot to do with it. How do you approach scheduling in the non-conference with the bye games, kind of the micro, macro strategy of it?
Yeah, I mean, our league is a one-bid league. So for us, it comes down to 3 games in March. So we try to challenge ourselves, and it's been very difficult, for us, Kent State, Akron, to get those high major teams to play us. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the way everything's gone with the quad 1, quad 2s, these Power 4 teams have 20 built-in, high major games through their conference. They got their 3 neutral court games, so they don't want to buy us, which I kind of get it. I've been on both sides of this deal, but we try to play as many as we can. Like this year, Memphis, agreed to play us. We called every ACC school, SEC school, Big Ten school. We couldn't, get anyone to play us, from a buy standpoint. So Memphis agreed to play us. Then you got to get your home and homes, and we're in a Myrtle Beach neutral MTE this year. So we try to challenge ourselves, and we really take pride in playing our best basketball in March. And I'm glad you said that. I feel like every year we've been playing our best basketball heading into it. Even this past year we had won 7 in a row going into the tournament. I think maybe 10 of our last 12, and thought we had a great chance to win it. Akron beat us by 3. They end up going to the tournament this year, but it's big for us. Going into March.
Yeah, you guys, Akron, Kent State, Toledo, those top 4 that have been kind of the standard top tier over the last 4 or 5 years have been as good a mid-major league, one-bid league. It's a shame that you guys only get one bid. Let me ask you about kind of just the MAC as overall landscape of it. Just your thoughts on the coaches in the league, the different styles, and how it prepares you. You guys have won NCAA tournament games. At the MAC, Ohio's known for multiple upsets. Akron almost beat UCLA a couple years ago. Kent State's been knocking on the door. Just talk about how good the MAC is from a coaches and culture standpoint.
Yeah, I think the last couple of years as a whole, it's been down, and I think that has to do with two things. Number one, the transfer portal. A lot of everyone's best players leaving, and the second thing has been some turnover in the coaching ranks. And I think if you look at this year, the first, second, third team all league teams, there's only 2 returners from those teams. Everyone either graduated or transferred out, other than Pritchard at Central Michigan and AJ Clayton here. So I think the turnover that way is hurt us. Back when I played, it was almost guaranteed whoever's the player of the year in the league, you're getting drafted, and a lot of times a lottery pick. And the way you can transfer now, that's kind of evolved and changed everything. But it's normally a guard driven league. The teams that you always see that have won in the tournament have been juniors and senior dominated and laden teams that have beaten a high major team that might be a little inexperienced. And now the way the portal is, you never know. You can kind of regroup, reload quicker through the portal, but you're not getting sometimes the same caliber guy. Like when Ben Vanderplas and Mark Sears left, we're not replacing those two. So I think it's just different every year. Moving forward, we're going to recruit the same type of caliber player. We have 4 really good freshmen that we feel really good about. A couple years ago, we had a freshman class that are now going to be juniors. So we're always going to continue to recruit the best player we can, and treat them the right way, give them the freedom. Have our culture be what it is, and if they end up leaving, we got to figure it out and keep moving on.
It's great. It's all you can do is work with what you got, and hopefully they stay. If not, you get the next guy. Coach, let me ask you just an Ohio U question. What makes, and I don't think people realize how good a home court atmosphere that is, especially in league games when you're playing Akron or you're playing Kent State. What makes the Ohio U job such a special job?
Yeah, I think number one, the people. We have a phenomenal president, Lori Gonzalez. She's been here a year now, came from Louisville. Our athletic director, Julie Cromer, has been great to work with as well. She's been here with me almost the whole 5 years that I've been here. So that, the alignment's there from the people standpoint. I think our campus is beautiful. If you've never been here, it's a college town, beautiful rural setting, probably 18, 19,000 students. It's got to be a top 5, 10 campus, I've come across in my travels in 30 years. And then I think, like you said, our student section is phenomenal. We've led our league in attendance. Every year I've been here, and probably years prior to that, we have a beautiful 13,000 seat arena. We probably average close to 6,500 fans, on a given night. So the community really supports and rallies behind, this team. And like I said, we have a great student section as well.
Absolutely. The Convocation Center in Athens is a extremely underrated college town. A lot of fun in that place. Coach, you've taken a lot of time. I want to leave you with one last question for all the Ohio Bobcats fans that will watch. You're headed into year number 6. You guys have been 20-plus wins the last 3 years, right, knocking on the door right there to get back to the dance. What's your message for the fan base headed into the 24-25 season?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this group. Number one is people. We got a lot of high character guys. They're fun to be around. Almost half our team's new, Ryan. We have 6 guys coming in, 4 high school kids, and then 2 transfers. And the 2 transfers, we have Jackson Paveleski from Iowa State, and then Vic Searles from Ashland, are really going to make a big impact for us. And then, like I said, our freshman class is really talented. And then we got a great core group of guys back, from guys who've been in our system and program for 3-4 years, that we're excited about. And everyone's had a really good summer, and I think the chemistry is going to be there, and I think we'll be there at the end in March.
Can't wait. I appreciate you stopping by the College Basketball Experience. Best of luck this season in the MAC, and we look forward to having you back on again, Coach.
No, appreciate you, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Coach. Coach Jeff Boals of the Ohio Bobcats. Really enjoyed hearing his thoughts on his team on the MAC. Athens, Ohio, just everything involved. If you remember, they were able to pull off the NCAA, an upset in the NCAA tournament in 2021. They upset Virginia the year, or I guess the tournament after Virginia had won it. Jason Preston had an electric night. They had Mark Sears. They've had really good players. They're maybe a little bit younger this upcoming year, but he mentioned it. He's got some veterans. It's good mesh. Runs an overall really good program in the MAC. They're in the top 4 every single year. We mentioned it at length over here, night in and night out. The college experiences: Ohio, Akron, Kent, Toledo. Those 4 seem to always be there in the Final Four in Cleveland for the MAC tournament. 98-60 over 5 years, 54-35. So sustained success in a really good league. In a league that's always a 12 or 13 seed in the dance and always has a chance to push that 5, 4, 6 seed in the first round. So real quick before we get out of here, we got to pay the bills because we're brought to you by Rhythm. Football season is here. College football week 0 right around the corner. And so is week 1 in the NFL. You're going to want to build your models now so that you're ready to rock and roll with the data scientists over there over at Rhythm. I like Georgia Tech plus the 13 here. 12 days from now over there in Dublin, Ireland. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And we're also brought to you by Circuit Survivor and Circa Millions. Circa Sports is back with the Circuit Survivor Challenge. And if you don't got your trip booked, August 22 through 24, use our promo code SGP15 to save your 15% off your hotel for that weekend. That's the contest weekend. Ryan and Sean will be out there. And if you can't sign up in person between now and September 7th, we have a proxy. Go over to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 off with the promo code SGP. Back over here at the college basketball experience, and want to thank Coach Boals once again for taking the time out of his busy schedule. Thank all these coaches so far. I think Coach Boals was number 20 or 21 so far this summer. Tomorrow we got Clint Sargent, the new head coach at Wright State, coming on here to talk a little Horizon League action. Like I said, we've hit the MAC, we've hit the ASUN, we've hit the Big South. We're going to be hitting more leagues as we lead into November 4th. The college basketball season's right around the corner, and you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed to the college basketball experience because we'll have conference previews here in about a month from now. So it's right around the corner. Go check out all 134 college football team preview. Ohio fans, your preview's over there with the MAC. Go check out all the other MAC teams. FCS experience as well with Colby and those guys. And then go check out me on the Big 12 channel with Rush and Troy, breaking down all 16 Big 12 teams. That's all I got. Appreciate Coach Boals. Appreciate the Ohio Bobcats fans for tuning in. Yeah, man, we're back tomorrow night, same time, same place. Like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a cousin. Help us help you. It helps grow the show. So I appreciate you guys. Continue to spread this show. Goes a long way, and we're going to continue to keep bringing the content as long as you guys keep liking and subscribing. So appreciate it. Another edition of Mac Tonight, signing off over here at the College Basketball Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here.